Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? I'm going to be your host today, Richie T, also known as Richard T. How's it going? We are going to be playing a spicy little deck today that I've been seeing online and have really been talked into by a couple of my friends, and I've kind of wanted to give it a try myself. How's the auto? If you want to check when you get away. But yeah, this deck is called Sultai Reclmation. It's essentially a Sultai control deck at heart, but it has ways to go over the top and can also have somewhat of a combo kill at the end. So the way I laid the deck out today is we have some early game here along with some extra lands that we can see our hard land base, counterspell removal, tutors, and then the assortment of quote-unquote win conditions that we'll be using to kill our opponent or win the game in some way. So pretty standard Sultai mana base. For early game, we got a couple of ops and a couple of growth spirals to try to help ramp us. This deck is really to see how good a lot of the new standard cards can be in Modern. Along with early game card draw and early game ramp, we have some counter spells in Remand, Spell Snare, Logic Knot, and of course Cryptic Command, because you can't really call yourself a control deck in Modern unless you're playing some number of Cryptics. To go along with all these, I also have some removal spells to try to keep us alive. A couple push, a Devour Flesh for against the Boggles matchup, since once again I'll get to the tutors here in a second. An Abrupt Decay for against the control decks when maybe we want to snag a Search for Azcanta, and an Assassin's Trophy to kill, well, just about anything. Mystical Teachings is what I'm talking about with a tutor spell. So this allows us to get anything with flash or that is an instant. So essentially it can get almost everything in our deck except for one of our cards, which the deck's named after, and I'll get to in a little bit. So this card can be very powerful. It can search out a removal spell when needed, a ramp spell if we need some more mana, even a Cryptic, which I assume is the typical card we will be searching up, or any of our win conditions, which we'll get to right now. So, even though it's not a win condition, it is because it's what our deck is really trying to do. If it's in the new set, I actually haven't seen it yet. I've heard I've heard people talking about the Modern only set, but I haven't seen or looked into it yet. I'm actually going to look into it on my way home. So, Wilderness Reclamation, it's the card the deck's named after, and it's what I'm really interested to see how well it works in Modern. It untaps all your lands, so it allows you to tap out on your turn for something like Mystical Teachings, or to attack your opponent with a man land like a Creeping Tar Pit. If you want to post what it does, that's fine. So basically lets us always have all of our mana open on our opponent's turn. But it also can let us Mystical Teachings on our turn for, say, Cryptic Command, and then have Cryptic on our turn, on our opponent's turn. The actual win conditions of the deck, I put Pulse of Marasa here because it's a way to get back a Snapcaster or a Creeping Tar Pit if our opponent deals with it. Is Snapcaster Mage beats after Snapcaster buys back whatever one of our more valuable cards are. Nexus of Fate, which can get tutored up by Mystical Teachings to help speed up our clock, or even with a Mystical Teachings and enough mana, we can eventually take 3 turns in a row off just one Mystical Teachings, because we can Nexus off it, Nexus, and then have the turn that we're taking currently. 1/1 Menace for 1 black. Beginning of pre-combat main phase, you may sack a creature. If you do, holy... That card does seem crazy. I'm excited, because that seems like it could have some brewing potential. It might fit into Dredge, but Dredge would want it on turn 1, and it doesn't do a whole lot. But maybe an Aristocrats deck? Yeah, that card seems really sweet. And then Blue Sun Zenith, which can help us get ahead of massive card advantage with Wilderness Reclamation. But also with enough lands or enough Wilderness Recs, we could even potentially draw our opponents out. So that's really how this deck works. Moving on to the sideboard, I have answer cards and then just more removal, essentially, is how I separated the sideboard to show you. So a lot of it is like 1 to 2 ofs, based off how much we felt like we needed, because since we have mystical teachings, we can tutor for any of our sideboard cards. So it's kind of like having 4 extra copies. We have a Ceremonious Rejection for Affinity Tron, or any really colorless deck that's giving us a problem. We have 2 Dispels for when we need to get into a counter war against other control decks or against combo. We have a 1 of Nimble Obstructionist for a Stifle that we can get off Mystical Teachings because it has flash, but it's also just another threat post board. We have a Shadow of Doubt to try to get those Scapeshift or Tron players. A Surgical Extraction to go with our 1 of Field of Ruin against Tron or Valakut, but also help the graveyard decks and combo decks. 2 Life Goes On, as Burn can be a tough matchup because we don't really have many ways to survive other than hope we kill their threats and can get there. A couple extra Fatal Pushes for against the aggro decks, which is what I assume this deck will have trouble with. An Echoing Decay for the same reason. A Crypt Incursion for the graveyard decks, but also the aggressive decks to help gain us life. A Hero's Downfall as an all-around removal spell like Assassin's Trophy, but it doesn't help our opponent by getting a land. A Consume the Meek for a board wipe we can get off Mystical Teachings. And then a Fracturing Gust as an all-in answer to artifacts and enchantments that can get got off Teachings. So Teachings is really like one of the core cards of this deck. And I'm really excited to play with it in Modern. It's actually like I think it's really skill intensive with how many decisions it gives you. So we're about to hop into games, but beforehand, I want to hop over to here and I want to shout out our sponsor. I want to give a shout out to Mom's Basement Games. This is their TCG store. Feel free to check it out. You can find just about anything there, from Spell Pierce to Gruul Spellbreaker to probably most of the cards in this deck that we are playing. If you're really in the search for any cards, feel free to check out Mom's Basement Games TCG. While you're there, feel free to stop by, check out our stream, but you're already here. You can check out our Facebook. It has a link to our Twitter, as well as links to our YouTube videos for every format, from Modern to Legacy to Standard. Pretty much anything you want, Mom's Basement Games is the one-stop shop. On top of that, if you're watching from YouTube, feel free to drop down into the description of the video where you can find all of this information plus more. You could leave a like, comment, or subscribe. We'd super appreciate it. You guys on Twitch, feel free to like and subscribe, or follow and subscribe as well. And if you would super like it because you enjoy me, feel free to check me out at Twitter. My Twitter handle is @RichardTMTG. I'm always down to talk about Magic or anything you really need to talk about. Feel free to hit me up. Check out my tweets. Just like this foil, or this ripped up Liliana of the Veil someone had in their binder that I got a peek of. So, without further ado, let's hop into some games, because I'm really excited to get into this deck. How is your guys' day going? Mine's not going bad, just got done with some work. Now I'm about to entertain you guys with some Magic. One of my favorite hobbies. But not my only hobby. I'm actually going to be tweeting out here in a couple of days. I want to show, I do things other than Magic. So I'm going to be tweeting out my other hobbies, which typically include video games from, League of Legends to Overwatch. Stuff like that. Going to pop out the deck here while we're waiting for our opponent. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this deck plays. It seems really sweet. I think it can be objectively powerful. The card choices I'm not 100% sold on. The deck was pretty stock for the most part, except for the flexing of, a Mystical Teachings and a Remand is what I decided to play over, the 4th Reclamation and just some other random stuff. We won the die roll, that's good. I would love to be on the play. So this hand is really slow without much interaction. But we do have a Teachings. So I think I'm down to keep a hand with teachings. Really see what this deck can do. Someone could tell me that this is a mulligan and I'd probably believe it. But we're going to see. What's the commander deck you're brewing? Opponent's really not sure about their hand. Must be a tough decision. Could also be pulling up the stream. We've had a couple stream snipers in the past. They decided to keep. So we're just going to lead on Misty Rainforest and pass. I'll have to check it out later, man. Could be Infect, could also be Amulet Titan. Couple different options here. I think we just want to get a Watery Grave here and not pay. Was not really looking for another land. Ship it back. Oh, this is probably the prison deck. Sure. I don't care about a chalice on one. This will be a very interesting matchup. Because we have a lot of win cons that I don't think they can really get around. But it is possible that they just time us out. So I think this could be a very time-intensive matchup. It might have even been right to run Snapcaster out there. I feel like we want the value off it, though. Okay, they see a Fatal Push. That doesn't really tell them much. Just going to play this Watery Grave tapped and pass. Might have forgotten about their own chalice there. Go to our turn. Ooh, a Reclamation. Now that's a good draw. Reclamation, and we'll pass. Our opponent just scoops it up. Can't beat the old turn 4 Reclamation. Deck must be too good. Oh, that sounds evil, but also sweet. So, Consume the Meek doesn't seem very good. They don't have any creatures in their deck. Maybe a couple Spell Skites, but not super worried about that. Same with Hero's Downfall, Crypt Incursion. Nimble can be pretty tricky in this matchup. Devour Flesh and Echoing Decay. Shadow of Doubt can be good. Decay and Trophy. Life Goes On. It's probably not going to be needed. Same with these pushes. So we're at 4 cards. I don't think this Pulse is going to be that good. Probably just cut the Ops to be down on 1-drops. Dude, Stoic Angel is like one of my favorite cards. Oh, a friend of mine in the group chat actually just sent me those cards you were talking about. I don't know about that Planeswalker, but the Cabal Therapy creature does seem really sweet. What do you guys think about this? I think this is what I'm going to probably submit. Yeah, let's hopefully get it. Our opponent's still in the tank about how to sideboard. Probably don't have a lot for this matchup, if we're being honest. This seems like a pretty rough match for them. A lot of their cards probably don't do a lot. Ooh. I like this hand. Surgical for early interaction if they don't have a Chalice. Snap Surgical for the same thing. And then we have our favorite card, Mystical Teachings. Cryptic's always a nice draw. Typically won't complain about a Cryptic command. It's not a bad one. Stops us from flashing anything back. Jeez. Seems like a good hand from them. Yeah, this hand was very strong. Get a Talaria West? Okay. And play it. So we're going to fetch, get a Breeding Pool end of turn. Ooh. I like the draw of Tar Pit. Yeah, I think we're actually just going to play the Tar Pit this turn and pass. We can't Snapcaster the Surgical. But this is like a legitimate clock. I actually give my opponent props for playing a deck like this on Moto. It's actually kind of risky. Seems very easy to time out, in my opinion. Growth Spiral's good. It'll help ramp us. We'll just play our fetch land and pass again. See what our opponent's got going on here. That's pretty good. I think I'm going to Growth Spiral in response because we can hit Remand. Oh, another Cryptic, which is fine. Then, yep, Tezzeret resolves. We have all of the Cryptics. So I think our play is going to be to either bounce the Cage or the Tezzeret at the end of their turn. We'll see what they do. I think it's going to be the Tezzeret. Amping Sphere. Man. Yep. I think that might have actually been a mistake. I should have counter-bounced. Yeah, that should have been a counter-bounce. That was a punt on my end. I will admit. Okay, Shadow of Doubt's not bad. We'll just ship it again. Yeah, they've drawn a lot of lands this game, and that's really working out for them. Yeah, letting the Damping Sphere resolve might have been a huge mistake on my end. They're just gonna pass? I mean, that's fine. I can... just mystical teachings for a fracturing gust here? Yeah, does this... So they'll still have one in play. But we can just cast it end of turn. Yeah, I think I like the Fracturing Gust here. We're not pressured to cast it yet, so we can wait until our opponent's next turn. And then if they cast the Tezzeret, we can just Cryptic, counter draw. Or actually, we could counter bounce the Welding Jar. Ooh, an Obstructionist for the turn, too. Yeah, I think we're just going to pass. And we're just going to set up to try to get them. A Order for 3. Huh. I think I'm fine with this. It's probably an Ensnaring Bridge, if I had to guess. Another Welding Jar. Okay. Interesting. So what if this is just Cryptic... We have to counter this. I think it's unfortunately just counter draw here. I'm gonna... Actually, do I want to Surgical the Whirs? I think I like Surgicaling the Whir more, actually. Bridge and chalice in hand. Those can certainly be an issue. What else is in their deck? An Aether Grid, another the 2 Tezzerettes, and the Size. Okay. Okay, that can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can set some stuff up. I like setting up to have 2 turns. I didn't shadow out the work because I didn't think there was anything I really cared about. I didn't think about a second welding jar. Did he draw another? Oh, they drew a Sigh. Yeah, I think unfortunately we have to stand the plan of countering all their threats. So I think we're going to counter draw. We might just not get access to our graveyard this game. 1, 2, 3, attack. Goes up 4 next turn. Ooh. That's a draw. So yeah, I can play that now. Pop this. Go ahead and get a swamp. We can animate the tar pit. Mush for 3. And we get to untap all our lands. Mike's making a fuzzy noise? That's weird. Let me know if it goes away or not. Spyglass. Okay. Yep. Hmm. Name's Nimble Obstructionist. So if we do this, he'll save this. No. He'll save these 2, which gets rid of these. I'm just going to Nexus here. I mean, yeah, that's a way to win the game. So we're just going to run our threats out in Nexus and try to pressure our opponent. It gets amplified when I talk. I can try adjusting the mic a little bit and seeing if that helps. Oh, I didn't think about... Oh, this was actually a mistake. I didn't think about the damping sphere tax. But that's fine. I can just Nexus on his... Oh, right, I get another turn. That's right. I knew what I was doing. I did forget about this, but we're chilling. So we're going to animate the tar pit. Dash for 8. And if we get a way to get another Nexus, we can actually win. So float 4, 5, 6, 7 Nexus. Wait. Why did it just go to my turn? I wanted to draw a card with Shadow of Doubt. Okay, then. I think Moto might have just bugged a little bit. That might be unfortunate for us. Ooh, Cryptic lets us bounce the bridge. Perfect. But they get to gain a life. Oh, if we remand the bridge, they can't replay it. Ah. Because of their own damping sphere. They draw like a land or a mox here? Or is this just like a chalice for one? Oh, nope, they forgot about their own. Their Sanctum comes in play tapped. So we're going to pay 3 here to Growth Spiral. Done. We don't get to cast that. So we untap. We fire up the column or the tar pit, not the colonnade. Been playing too much Jeskai lately. Swing with the lads. Our opponent to 1. We have not cast a spell this turn, so we may as well Growth Spiral. Ooh, another remand too. Okay. So we should have this locked up with a bow. Remand 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to remand this bridge and then Cryptic it. So our opponent can't do any funny business. Turns out just drawing a buttload of Cryptic commands is pretty good. We're going to counter this and return the Grafdigger's Cage. Just in case our opponent does have something. All right, we did it. We're starting out 1-0 with the Sultai Reclamation deck. That game was pretty sweet. It seems hard for our opponent. We have a lot of things that get around what they are trying to do, as well as just like tutors for artifact and enchantment hate. They put up a good fight that game, though. Like, I was worried. I think surgicaling the Whirs was the correct choice over surgicaling the Tezzerets. Because typically they only have one more of that Tezzeret. Sorry, opening a monster. Yeah, this sounds great. Early interaction, mystical teachings. You're very much like most control decks in Modern, where there aren't many 7s you won't keep. Outside of once you know the matchup. Has the mic gotten any better by chance, fools? Probably just get another breeding pool here. Uh-oh. Aggressive decks are what I said I feel like we'd have an issue against, so we'll see how this goes. We'll probably just play the Drowned Catacombs this turn, because I will most likely want to remand something. We have some good sideboard cards for this matchup, though. Not quite sure what our opponent's thinking about. I feel like if they had a gut shot or something, they would have done it on their turn. Ooh, Abrupt Decay is good. We can, if they don't play anything, we can just Abrupt Decay the Swift Spear. Or if whatever they play will most likely do less damage. Okay. Thanks, Josh. I'm glad the mic's fine. I love you, Josh, but I also hate you. And I hope you know that. But I mean that also with the kindness in my heart. If it's an Eidolon here, I'm probably going to just remand it. So that way I can Abrupt Decay it next turn. Use this remand almost as like a time walk. If it's just burn spells, I'll probably let them resolve and Abrupt Decay the Swift Spear. Another Swifty. That's kind of scary. And a Spike. Yeah. That's going to happen. Kill a Swifty. They're on Mono Mountain, so this Field of Ruin looks kind of awkward, too. I think I was maybe supposed to remand the Swift Spear, thinking about it now. Wilderness Wreck is a pretty good draw for this. I think we're going to play a Watery Grave, tapped, and ship it back. Wilderness lets us go Wilderness and hold up something or teachings on our opponent's turn. Oh, this is the this is Mono Red Phoenix. So we're actually gonna remand this Manamorphose. So that way they can't cast more spells this turn. So I'm actually gonna pull up our list really quick and see what I'm thinking about teachings for here. Could maybe be a Cryptic. Could also maybe just be a removal spell. We'll see what our opponents do. They had Land Lava Spike. Ouch. Yep, we're at 7. Draw an island for turn. I'm down for that. Go ahead and play our reclamation here. Untap our lands. This deck is like more aggressive. This is probably one of the most aggressive decks in Modern, if we're being honest. So this matchup might be tough. Three, four, five. That's going to put us to 2. I think I got to let it happen, unfortunately. Yep. Maybe a Slaughter Pact would be a good addition to this deck. How does Devour Flesh work? Is it I gain the life or do they? They do. I can always get a Nexus and just take an extra turn. I don't really have anything good to pulse. I could grab a teachings for snap, but we don't have enough mana. I could just get a Snapcaster, but then we die to Phoenix. I think it's just going to be the Nexus. Yeah, I'll pop out our graveyards real quick. Thanks, Moto. Opt gives us a couple extra looks. So 4, 8. So I can do both of these. Or if I put this in, I can do all of these. So yeah, we're going to go with this. Blue, green. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. This actually nets us more mana this way. I would not like to pay. I'm going to opt after casting the Nexus because we really kind of just want to hit more Nexuses. We only have the one Nexus in our deck, but it does still increase our odds. I just want to make sure it doesn't go past our turn. Okay, good. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Nexus. And we'll go ahead and opt here. Trophy's not bad. I think I'll take it. I mean, that keeps us alive, so... I'm actually going to play this fetch. We're dead to any burn spell, but like we've been dead to any burn spell forever. I'm playing this fetch, that way I can Field of Ruin my own fetch land. Well, no, I don't actually think I'm going to make that play. Because it's just mana positive for our opponent. 1, 2, 3. That was a mistake. I have a Mystical Teachings in my yard. I should have flashback Teachings. This deck's really hard to play when I wasn't looking at my graveyard. That was a bad mistake. That might lose us this game. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that saves us. Unfortunate. Bad plays deserve to lose, so. That was my bad. We'll try to bounce back from that. Mistakes happen on stream. Gus seems terrible. Meek seems meh. Crypt Incursion seems good. Hero's Downfall seems pretty bad. They don't really search their deck, so Shadow doesn't seem that good. Decay seems good. Devour Flesh. Rejection isn't that great. They don't actually play many instants, so I don't like Dispel. I like Spell Snare. I like the Surgical. I like all of our 1-drops. So let's see. Nimble doesn't seem that good. Man, this is kind of hard to figure out what to cut. Maybe we trim a Teachings in this matchup. And I think Consume's probably just a little bit too slow. If you guys have any help, like, feel free to help me out sideboarding. I'm actually having a tough time figuring out what to take out here. Maybe this Devour Flesh isn't that great. I mean, we have a lot of removal at this point. And I don't know if I like letting them choose. I could also buy Remand not being that great, because they want to cast multiple spells. We do want all of our snaps, though. Yeah, that's actually what I was just thinking, was trimming on a Cryptic. Maybe like that. I think we need the Blue Suns because we have to answer the things and we need to refill. Same with the Nexus. I think it's just a way for us to get ahead. Logic Knot's actually a counter spell. Yeah. I think we're going to try this. What do you guys think of this for this matchup? This is one of those matchups where I think you really need to know how to sideboard. And I haven't played this deck before. A very hard deck, but that's kind of why I wanted to play it. If we had another land, this hand would be an instant keep. But since we only have the basic swamp, I think we unfortunately have to mulligan. Run to Slaughter Pact, bring that in. The plays. Yeah, this hand's fine. It can cast Fatal Push and Growth Spiral. And hopefully off another land we can cast the Abrupt Decay. And then eventually get to Cryptic. We are not looking for a Nexus of Fate right now. We don't have an Overgrown Tomb in this deck, which is kind of awkward here. Because that's what I'd really like to fetch. So... Man, that's really awkward in this mana base, not having an Overgrown Tomb. No lists had it, and I didn't think about it when putting the deck together. But there should definitely be a one of Overgrown Tomb somewhere in the 75. Maybe only 6 fetches for it. That being said, I think we need to get lucky with the Growth Spiral, so I'm going to get the Breeding Pool. Ooh, we did it, boys. I'm going to play this because then we can Growth Spiral and push now. Probably fetching Basic Swamp. Swift Spear. A gut shot. Ugh. They're going hard. Yep. And a skewer. Sheesh. Calm down, opponent. Alright, well. Let's get spiraling. I'm probably going to play the Watery Grave next turn. So I'm just going to fetch the swamp here. Then we're going to push the Soulscar Mage off a cliff. Because it makes it better. It lets them gut shot a tar pit eventually. Ooh, that's a good draw. Delta Pass. If there's anything too scary they cast, we can just fetch an island and Cryptic. But otherwise, I'd really like to use this tapped. I'm going to let that resolve. As bad as it feels. You are can-tripping, opponent. Okay. Yikes. So we're going to get rid of that Swift Spear. Save ourselves a little bit of life. Fetch end of turn for another breeding pool, I think. I really want to cast that, but I really need to put this Watery Grave into play tapped. Depending on what our opponent casts, this might just be like Cryptic, tap your team, draw. I'm really worried about my life total. Oh, there's no stop at the beginning of combat. That's awkward. I guess we're going to let this happen then. That's really, really sad that we didn't have that stop. So I think I'm going to counter a spell. Then bounce one of these guys. That feels really bad. Not even that stop hurts. We're just going to put that stop there from now on. No. We just need to remember to turn it on, apparently, instead of being a big dummy. I'm just going to opt here. I think Spell Snare is a little late. I'll take another Cryptic. So we'll set the stop this time. You got it, bud. The reason I let that resolve is I really want to draw a card with this. That was not one of the cards I wanted to draw. That was, though. So we're probably going to run that playback of snap, Cryptic, tap, and then fetch end of turn. Maybe counter this depending on what it is. Looting with no cards in hand, so I'm going to let that resolve. It's just a mill 2. Anamorphose Soul Scar. That's fine. We're going to Snapcaster here. Target our good friend Cryptic Command. And we're going to Cryptic to tap all of the creatures and draw a card. Ooh, and a Fatal Push. So you're saying there's a chance. Fatal Push actually makes me want to save this Misty so we can push the Phoenix. As bad as that feels, they have no cards in hand. And another Snap. Alright. Alright, we might be clawing our way back into this. So I don't think we're going to run that play back this time. I think... Push, push, block. I think I'm not going to attack. I'm going to let that go to their turn. They're going to flashback a looting. Sure. So we might be clawing our way back into this game. I'm going to probably double block a Soulscar Mage with both Snapcasters. We still have the Tar Pit to start applying pressure, but it also literally gets rid of their whole board. Discarded a Phoenix and a Mountain. Ooh. Yep, go to combat. 4 blockers. We're going to fetch. Can I animate the Tar Pit actually still? Push, snap, push. No, I can't. We'll get another breeding pool here. Oh, cancel. Cast with Revolt. Cast a Snapcaster Mage. Target. We may as well target Abrupt Decay. In case they have a Surgical in hand here. Abrupt Decay a Soulscar Mage. And move to blocks. Alright, this is the board I like to see. Spell Snare is not a bad draw. So I really want to get my opponent dead, so I'm going to start firing up this Tar Pit. Because Swift Spear is kind of annoying if they draw. But I'm really just worried about them being able to, like, giving them time and getting back these Phoenixes to kill us. Three spells will be kind of hard without a Manamorphose, and they've already used 3. At least this turn. I don't think so. Can you still hear me? Let me flop over and see if the sound's still working. No, sound still shows working on my end. Okay. Thanks, Rogue. Another land. I'm actually going to hold on to that. Was there any reason to hold on to it, actually? I don't think so. And playing it bluffs Cryptic Command. So I think we're going to do it. Alright. The good old Tar Pit beatdown. Uh-oh. This can be pretty bad for us, this looting. Because unfortunately, if they do have another Manamorphose, if they have another 1-mana spell, they still get back both Phoenixes. Flashback looting. Okay. Here's the hoping they don't have a gut shot. They probably still have anywhere from 1 to 3 in their deck. Oh, they have it too. And we're dead, unfortunately. Good games, opponent. I think this might be one of our worst matchups. Because this deck is even more aggressive than Burn. And it also has the recursive factor of the Phoenixes. So we were starting to come back that game. But we needed to draw better than our opponent. And we unfortunately didn't. So it happens. We're 1-1 though, so we can still rally it. Let's get it going on to our match 3. So yeah, as I was saying... Oh wow, that was fast. I could see room for a Slaughter Pact. That way on 4 you can have a removal spell off Mystical. But it's also kind of like wasting the card of Mystical. So, I'm not 100% sure. This hand seems great. Remand and Cryptic. Everything control decks want. Remands and Cryptic Commands. Uh-oh, not another red deck. I want to face not aggressive decks, people. Stomping Ground. Faithless Looting. Bridgevine, maybe? Dredge. Do we have anything in our main deck for Dredge? There should probably be like some form of main deck graveyard hate. Maybe like a Surgical or a Crypt Incursion in the main. It's just having tutors in your deck. There really should be answers to big parts of the format. And graveyard decks are really big right now. Dredge Loam, interesting. I think there I would have probably dredged Imp. Unless they just literally don't have anything better to cast than a Loam here. It still seems kind of weak. Yeah, this shows me their hand's probably weak. They probably wanted the 3rd land for for Faithless Looting next turn, which we can just remand. Pulse of Marasa, not great here. I think we're just gonna go ahead. Probably just play... We really want to get an island. So probably just the Misty. This Pulse can buy back a Snapcaster Mage. Most likely. Creeping Chill number 1. And they hit a Conflagrate. Yeah, I think this deck might... Like, with the way Modern's shaping out right now, I think this deck probably wants more graveyard hate. Island... and remand. So this buys us some time. We drew teachings. This turn's just going to be fetch land pass, unfortunately. Really don't like not doing anything this turn. That's pretty scary against Dredge. So one issue with this deck that I'm seeing is, one, not enough graveyard hate, and two, it might just not be proactive enough right now for how Modern is. Hit another looting. So kind of interesting thing. We can actually Pulse of Marasa our opponent's prized amalgam back on top. It'll buy us a little bit of damage. I think that's what we're going to do. We're probably just dead. I don't even know if I actually want to show them more. Yeah, I think I'm actually just going to concede this game. I don't think we're winning it. And I'd rather conserve some cards in my deck so they maybe don't think that I'm on this. I think only 2 graveyard hate cards is definitely a mistake. I think you probably want 3 to 4 in this 75. And 1 to 2, if 1, 2, or even maybe 3 should be main deck. Alright, what's not that great here? Fracturing Gust is not good. Pulse of Marasa is interesting. Hero's Downfall is not good. Nimble does not seem that good. Devour Flesh. Echoing. Life Goes On seems mediocre. Ceremonious and Dispels. This is probably another Trim A Mystical Teachings matchup. I almost just like don't want all of our removal and just kind of hope to do our thing. This is probably just too cute. Maybe something like that. What do you think? What do you guys think of this? I think this deck is probably... I still think this deck might be fine in Modern, but I definitely think it needs more graveyard hate. Let's try. I would love to play first. So it's not great, but it has a Wilderness Reclamation. And like, if we had more graveyard hate, I'd probably try to mulligan more to graveyard hate. But with only 2 pieces, I think we just have to keep our good hands and hope that they're going to be good enough. Yeah, I just copied lists I seen online from people who were doing well, and I really think I should have put a tad bit more thought into this deck. Because I feel like Graveyard Hate and an Overgrown Tomb are something I could have figured out. But we'll see. There's still a chance we can win. Get a good remand here on like a Cathartic Reunion. Get that out of there. Exactly what I was talking about. Double Stinkweed Imp. I actively am not a I am a huge advocate to Faithless Looting being banned in Modern, even though I play a lot of Faithless Looting. And it's just like decks like this. I don't think they're good for Modern. 11 power turn, our opponent was going to draw essentially 14 cards after what we just saw. Minimum off one card. How greedy do I think I have to get to win? I don't think I have to be that greedy. I just don't think I can let this, I don't think I can take the chance of whiffing and letting this Cathartic resolve. I think I'm actually just going to get an I think I'm going to get a Watery Grave, actually. Because of this Consume the Meek. Counter unless you pay one opponent. Okay. So we're buying ourselves time. Really need that fourth land. We really needed a fourth land, not a Nexus of Fate. I think we still have a chance if we draw a land next turn. It's getting really risky. I think this deck just isn't well suited for aggro or graveyard, and I think that's a mistake in the metagame. I think this deck probably wants 1 to 2 more pieces of Graveyard Hate. Just had another Cathartic, yep. Dredge is so stupid. I'm just dead. And so, I think Faithless Looting is the card to be banned. Even though you didn't see Faithless Looting this game, it's how they get a lot of their oomph. I could potentially see Cathartic Reunion or Prized Amalgam even. But there's just so many decks that abuse Faithless Looting. We're going to hope to draw a land. If we do, we have a maybe. Yeah, we're dead. Unfortunate. This happens way too much to me with Dredge. I think Dredge is probably too consistent. And I don't think this deck's playing enough Graveyard Hate, which is a thing. But man. What's your guys' stance on Dredge? How do you feel about it in the format? I just think it's way too consistent for its power level. I think the same thing can probably be said about Phoenix, and I play that deck. Faithless Looting just allows for so much. And Dredge would probably still be a deck without looting. So maybe looting's just not the ban. It could potentially be a ban Arclight Phoenix, ban Prized Amalgam thing. And leave looting. But then you still have decks like Goryo's. It's really hard to hit like all of the Degenerate graveyard decks because they all use different cards. But the graveyard is just such a powerful tool that I think is getting overly used right now. It could potentially be like ban Faithless Looting Cathartic Reunion, but then you're hitting 2 cards from Dredge. And typically 2 cards at once isn't that good. Alright, we found an opponent. Hopefully we will have better luck. Okay. If this deck has a reasonable hand, I feel like it's this. We don't have a Reclamation, which really lets us pop off, but Island Ancestral Vision. I like our deck in a grind off, but we'll see. I think I'll lead Misty Pass. I'm probably going to fetch Shock and cast this Opt. Looks like blue-white. Watery Grave. And we're going to Opt here. I have a trophy, so I think I'm going to bottom that. Cryptic's not a bad draw. Fatal Push, however, is. Blue to Delta Pass. Fetch here. We want to leave their basics because there are 4 of Field of Ruin deck. So we're just going to get another breeding pool here. Another Misty, sure. Just never have to tell them what we have. Opt from them, sure. I'm going to save this Remand for maybe this Ancestral. Could even attempt a Cryptic end of turn. Or a Cryptic on the Ancestral. Snapcaster. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the Cryptic and hope they don't have a counterspell. It's pretty unlikely, but if the Ancestral resolves, I'm not really sure how we're going to win the game. We could go for a Remand, actually. And then if they play like a Search for Azcanta or something, we can just trophy it. I think I like that, actually. That play seems a lot more clean. Okay, so that's on the stack now. So now I'm going to attempt to Remand it. Alright, that works. Cool. Yep, they just suspended again. And I don't think we really want to... So we gotta let that resolve, but we're definitely Assassin's Trophying a Jace here. Just don't want them to have a good clock. Green, black, trophy. Plus this gets rid of their Brainstorm. Which can be good or bad. Depends on what they wanted. Another Misty Pass. Alright. We get to Mystical Teachings end of this turn. Unless they play something, then we can just cryptic. Nope. Them to teachings. Not 100% sure what I want to get here. It doesn't look like it's going to resolve anyways. Logic not for 2. Yep. I cannot pay. Fetch end of turn, get our last breeding pool. Okay, another remand's not a bad draw. We're just going to play this island and pass. Try to mystical teachings again on their turn for the flashback. If they fire up the colonnade, we have a push. Yep, exactly. That's on 2. I'm going to growth spiral here. Try to hit a reclamation. We didn't, which is fine. We're going to shock this in, actually. Hold up remand, cryptic, or snap cryptic. Or even just teachings, end of turn. I think I like teachings here, depending on what our opponent does. We'll just flash this back. It resolves, they say. I almost want to get Blue Sun Zenith here. We have just about everything else we want. Just get a like big card draw spell. We're going to fight over this Ancestral. Because again, I think the way this game matters is card advantage. No reason to float. Our opponent might be attempting to take us off black mana here. Put the Ancestral on the stack. And go ahead and put it back in your hand. So we could go for a big Blue Suns here. And I think I like it. I just like being able to refill here. If our opponent has a counter spell, that's fine. We still have Snap Cryptic in our hand. Okay. Alright. That's pretty good for us. So we're going to play Hinterland. Turn to double green. Play a reclamation here. And then we should be pretty set up. We eventually would like a creeping tar pit, but even just a Nexus. Might be playing too slow for this matchup, unfortunately, but we shall see. A search. I'm just going to counter and draw that. Okay. So before, I'm just going to Snapcaster here. Target the cryptic command. I'm going to cryptic command to return their hollowed fountain and draw a card. Looks like they have the path, unfortunately. Wasn't many ways to get around that there. Ooh, that's our last basic. I don't like that. Alright. Yeah, we'll put an island into play. We'll put a tar pit into play. Play another reclamation. Play our forest. So we have pretty much infinite mana. We just need some way to kill our opponent. We're actually really close to being able to blue suns our opponent out. Don't really want to land back. Ooh, Cryptic's a sweet draw. So I think we're going to just fire up this tar pit, get him to ghost quarter it, and then we're going to pulse back our tar pit. Yep. Yep. No. Pulse of Marasa, back my tar pit, please. Let you go. Recalls on one. Okay, so there's their threat. Ooh, and there's ours. We have a remand or an opt to flashback. We're going to start by firing up the tar pit and go into combat. And we're going to Snapcaster our opt, I think. Sure, I'll take another Cryptic. Just basically says our opponent can't win the game. They're just never going to resolve this Ancestral. Sure. I'm going to opt here. I'm not really looking for a push. Spiral. Another tar pit into play. We're racing. Blue, 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 black. I'm actually going to use this one to bounce their colonnade here and draw. Draw logic knot. Ooh, there we go. Animate. Animate. Go to combat. Hit for 6. Go to our end step, float a bunch of blue. Untap. I don't want to use this cryptic here, just in case they get another turn. Yeah, we might unfortunately just not have enough time to win another game, but I'm going to try my best. While also playing to the best of my abilities. Jace. Sure. I let Jace stick because I'm just going to try to kill him through it. So I'm going to cryptic to bounce one of these to shorten their white sources. Animate a tar pit. Animate a tar pit. Okay, that's good. All right. So we have basically 12 minutes to win the next game. Hopefully we don't go to a game 3. All right, so miracles. Okay. So consume the meek seems bad. Crypt incursion's a maybe. Nimble obstructionist seems good. Devour flush seems good. Decay seems bad. Both of the decays seem bad. Life goes on seems pretty bad. Ceremonious seems bad. And then we're at 9 cards to cut. I like Pulse for my manlands. Fracture and Gust does not seem good. I like all of our top end. Crypt Incursion only hits creatures, so it's actually bad. Surgical seems a little cute. Spell Snare seems a little cute. And we're at 5 cards. Shadow of Doubt's probably a little cute. I'd rather have some removal for like colonnades. Maybe it's like this. What do you guys think about this for against Jessica or against Miracles? I think I like this. What's your guys' opinions, if you have any? This deck seems really hard to play on a clock. And I actually think this is the matchups that it's like set up to beat are the control decks. But Moto Clock is not my best friend, as you all can tell. Neither is this hand. This hand seems fine, though. Ding. Top. Carpet and 6. I'm going to try to play a little bit faster. Not the turn 2 search. It's Control's worst nightmare. Okay, we're going to hide the fact that we have green mana right now and just 6 again. I think we're going to Teachings instead of slamming the Reclamation. Sure. We're not going to respond to that. Okay. So now that that resolved, I feel pretty safe. Let's go ahead and get... One, 6. Let's just get a... Let's get a Dispel, actually. This way we should be able to stick this Reclamation. Okay. We don't know much we want to do with 5 mana, so let's 6 it again. on F6, so I didn't get the float mana. That's unfortunate. We had another green source. It's really trying to take us off our colors this game. Don't really have anything I want to play. Play another reclamation. Okay, so we're just gonna fetch. We'll get a breeding pool tapped. Sure. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Just Nexus here. Ooh, what does that let us do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14, 20. 20 minus 7 is 13, so we can draw 10 cards. Okay. Another black, another blue. Okay, we drew the Nexus. So now we go to our end step. We can discard this polluted delta, one of these growth spirals, another one of these growth spirals, and probably this last growth spiral. And then I guess the dispel. Okay, we drew a nimble. So we're going to teachings. Nexus. Play our land. Shock. We're going to opt. Put that on top. We go to our end step, float blue, blue, whatever. Untap. 4, 5, 6, 7. Nexus. 2, 3, 4. teachings. 6, 7, 8, 8, 16, 24, 21. I can draw 21 cards. That's not enough. So what if we get Nexus again? We flash in a bird. Go to our next turn. Have a path, sure. Yes. Get our last basic. 3, 6, 9. It's 27. Do we have any fetchable sources? Yes. We're gonna Nexus. Fetch. We're gonna shock because we want all of our mana in case we draw blue suns. Meant to float a blue there, but we'll be fine. Blue. We're gonna return a colonnade to their hand and draw. Control Alt, I believe, is hold priority. We're going to remand our own spell. We're going to Control Alt again. Remand our own spell. Remand our own spell. We drew the Nexus. Cool. Go. Don't believe we have anything to fetch. Nexus. Oh, we can't do that. We have to shock to do that. All of these make blue, blue, whatever. We drew another land. Just untap everything. Hero's Downfall. Kills their Snapcaster Mage. We're just going to play this tapped and pass now. 3, 6, 9. We're still off from being able to Nexus them. Fuck, they drew another Field of Ruin too. God damn it. Yeah, we might time out, unfortunately. Tried my best, guys. Another Fatal Push, fuck. Yeah, I should have played a little faster game one, and I think we could have won. Unfortunate. We're, like, definitely ahead this game, I think. Maybe not. We used a lot of resources trying to kill them. Snapcaster? What does that do? It's a snap a cryptic. Yeah, we probably lose here, unfortunately. We whiffed, which sucks. Yep. If I wasn't pressed against time, I might not have tried to been so greedy. But the clock is an issue. Field's not a bad draw. I don't get a land, but I really want to just stop their ass Canta nonsense. I was just double checking to make sure we didn't have a teachings in our yard that I like messed up and forgot about, but no. Yep. No basics for me, opponent. The jig is up. This deck was really sweet, though. If they go to animate a colonnade, I'm going to push it. I think they're just on the timeout plan because they're so far ahead. I'm going to cast that on their turn in case they cast a spell. Just like that. Two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. I want to leave the tar pit in and get rid of it. Get rid of these growth spirals. I want to leave the tar pit in. Fuck, I guess I can't, whatever. Can I undelve the tar pit? No. Cool. Whatever. I'm not winning this. It's too late. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Might have been a bit too greedy. But I think they would have just timed us out if I didn't try to play greedy. It's our one chance. So we go ahead, we get Nexus. We go to our end step. Float a buttload in Nexus. Yeah, we're going to time out, unfortunately, but I think we would have had the kill. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 30, 31, 32, 33. Yeah, we had our opponent dead. Unfortunate. If I would have maybe played a little bit faster game 1. That stinks. So we unfortunately did not prize this league. I'm going to drop from it, and I might play another league. since it's kind of early. Well, we've been going for about 2 hours. Nonetheless, I'm going to drop from this. Thoughts on the deck? The deck is not bad, that's for sure. It's doing objectively powerful things in Modern. I think it does need some tweaking. Like, I think I could see a Crypt Incursion and maybe a Surgical in the main. Maybe that takes, like, this Mystical Teachings. And, like, we should have won that game, but I got timed out, unfortunately. It's Magic. Like, that's part of Moto. Like, maybe these become a Surgical and a Crypt Incursion. And then one of these Misties should be an Overgrown Tomb. Because there were times I wanted green and black, but couldn't fetch it. The sideboard, I'm not really sure. We definitely need help against aggro. But the aggro decks we faced were graveyard decks. So I'm going to give you guys the option here for a little bit. Would you like to see me run a different deck? We could maybe go ahead and play a Vannifar League if you'd like. We could run this deck back. Or I could just get off for the night. What would you guys prefer? If we play this deck or a different deck, though, I do have to make adjustments or get the cards from Mana Traders. So there would be a brief intermission. Could also run a League of Legacy with the deck I'm going to be playing in Syracuse this weekend. If anyone's interested in seeing that. What are you guys feeling? We'll give you a couple minutes to see if anyone messages anything. Thanks, Meteor. I appreciate that. Right now, I'm just kind of checking everything out of what's been going on. Just reading about this Modern Horizons thing. It seems pretty interesting. I assume just like anything else, it'll probably be It'll probably be Legacy and Vintage legal and Commander legal as well. I'm not a big fan of the Planeswalker, personally. I don't think it's that great for... I'm not really sure what archetype it'd even be good in. My buddy Andrew, who played this deck, says he doesn't think it's that good, but he thinks it's a ton of fun to play, and I kind of agree with him on that. I think I'm probably just going to sign off for the night. Josh is supposed to be bringing me some food, and I had some stuff I need to take out to my car for him. So I'm going to be signing off. Once again, I would like to thank our sponsor, Mom's Basement Games. Check out their TCG store. You can get all of the information from Mom's Basement Games from there. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to check out in the description for all the information to all of our pages. And if you guys would like, I'd hugely appreciate a follow and any interaction you really feel like giving me on Twitter. Once again, my Twitter handle is @RichardTMTG. And the other thing I have to say is next week, I will not be streaming from my normal time slot. Due to circumstances, I'll be tweeting about this and making a Facebook post about it tomorrow. But for all you guys that are here, I'll let you know. Next week, due to circumstances, I'm going to be moving my time earlier. I'm going to probably stream around noonish on Thursday. Next week's going to be kind of a weird week for everything. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to stream. I might stream the Vannifar pod again. But I might also stream something else and save that for my normal time slot when I go back to it the week after. So we'll see. I'll ask people what they want, and we can go from there. But, alright guys, this is Richie T, a.k.a. also Richard T. And I'm here from Mom's Basement Games. I'm going to be signing off. So everybody have a great night.